Okay, so welcome to the last video in Ellipses and Forms, and it's our last online video. Boo! Okay, so just a little review here. We're looking at ellipses, and we're looking particularly at how changing up our ellipses can give us this sense of perspective. And particularly that happens when we try to make it so that our ellipses get less squished as we go down the form. This is a sort of subtle, but it does help. All of these small details eventually add up to create a superior product by the end. So let's look at our last object. We're going to do a vase or a vase, however you like to say it. And let's just trace these ellipses. So you can see that this ellipse is not super squished, and this ellipse, it's really, really close to the bottom, so it should also not be super, super squished. This ellipse is a bit more squished, and then this ellipse, oh my gosh, this ellipse is so squished. And this top ellipse, it's like so squished that it's even just like a flat line or something. So we see as we go from bottom to top, we get more squished, or if you like going the other way, from top to bottom, we get less squished. Cool. So let's make one. Let's make a vase or a vase using these principles. I'm going to construct this vase using the same sort of techniques. I've got a vertical axis here, and all along this vertical axis will lie all of my minor axes. Again, I'm not testing you on these. Don't worry too much about the terminology. And then I'm just going to make the top of my vase, and the vase will narrow as we go down. Let's go further down. We don't need so many lines here. Let's narrow it a bit. The more of these lines that you do, the better. The smoother your curves will be anyways. Let's have a nice wide point here. And let's go super wide here. And then let's go less wide again. And let's do the bottom. We'll just do the bottom here. That seems fine for the width of the bottom. All right, we're done with our ruler. Now let's draw our ellipses. Let's do a pretty squished one here. So a pretty squished ellipse here. And then let's do a slightly less squished ellipse here. And let's do a less squished ellipse as we start to widen our vase. So something like this. And a less squished one here. So we can even start to get some overlapping of our ellipses. That's fine. And less squished and our second to last one. There's definitely going to be some overlap here. There we go, that bottom is better now. And then, the least squished one, again, it can be really close to a circle. So let's just do something like that. That's closer to a circle. All right, so here's my vase, the outlines for it anyways. And now what we can do is we can start to connect all of these edges of our ellipses in a nice smooth curve. So here's our vase, the left side. And we're going to try our best to make this as symmetrical as we can, or as symmetric as we can. Huzzah. Hey, we're doing it. This kind of looks like a vase. Isn't that great? Yay! All right. Cool. Now we have our vase. If we like, we can get rid of all of our axes. And we can also, if you like, you can start to get rid of the contours that we can't see. I'm just going to keep the contours in front for now, but you don't necessarily have to keep those either. It's, you know, when you're starting to draft this out, it can be a little bit of an advantage to keep these contours in the meantime because they'll give you a sense of the shape of your form as you texture it. So here's your vase. You can, again, you know, if you're doing this in your sketch, well, you don't have your sketchbooks. If you're doing this on a piece of paper, you can harden up these lines at this point. And then what you can do is you can start to shade this. So let's say the light source is coming from directly in front. You can start to shade this. And I'm just going to do straight line hatching here. And I'm going to curve or angle my hatching down as the ellipses get less and less squished. You don't really need to do much here to give it a sense of form because of these contours that are already here. But you can cross-hatch these too if you like. And so we have this nice little bit of shading here. Again, I want to really emphasize that what we're doing here is an exercise. And the exercise is meant to give us a sense of how we can stretch our ellipses as we go down, or stretch the contours as we go down. But you don't need to construct a vase this way every time, right? Real artists probably won't, because they'll have a sense of how these ellipses are squishy at the top and less squishy at the bottom. So you don't need to use these tools every single time. We could also add some, you know, I'll just go quickly here. We could also add in some more shading on the left side. Right, if the light source is coming from directly in front, then there might be some shading on the left and right sides too. You can add more here. You can add, you know, you can add designs to your vase if you like. You can add, you know, people that are smiling and happy. You know, hey, here is a sun shining down on a happy day. Maybe this is a vase from like some sort of, you know, historical time period that you would want to mimic or whatever. But this is really all that you need for it. And yeah, texture it and shade it however you like. And there it is. Yeah, I'm pretty much done here. This is all you really need for constructing forms, semi-cylindrical forms, forms that have forms that are really circular. They're circular when you look down on them. So if you're looking straight down on this, it should look like just circles as you go down. But when you look at them from an angle, that's when the ellipses come in, and we have these tight ellipses on top and these looser ellipses on the bottom. So there you go. Have fun with these exercises. Try drawing a mug and a vase and design them to your heart's content.